Everybody, hope you're doing well today. Sorry about yesterday. Just a lot of errands to run and really wore me out. Longest day I've had out and about since my most recent surgery. Um, just thought I could do it. So I needed to come home and rest and slept late today. So today is 77, even though it's not 77 days in a row. I've only missed one other one in the midst um, earlier this month. And I know it's the last day of March, but I'm going to still talk about women a little bit. There's some more women in the Bible I'd like to really touch on, and then I'll get into, what Easter season's all about. So we'll get into that. Kind of go into the next. So I hope you're doing well, and I'm going to speak about Rhoda. I don't think a lot of people have paid attention to her or really remember her name. I really don't think I did beforehand either. Again, this book has been really helpful for me over the years to go back to. I really enjoyed the study when I was in the military. So, a little bit before I read the passage that is specifically in about her, do you ever feel like no matter what you do or say, it's others still disbelieve in you or your actions? It's bad enough when we receive this ridicule from non-believers because they don't really know better, right? The consequences of it. But by fellow believers, this pain cuts extra deep. I mean, it's like your family, but in a greater sense, not just your intimate family, but immediate family, but your Christian family, brothers and sisters, and so forth, pastors or anybody else. So, speaking as a woman, nothing against men, but do you feel it's more difficult as a whole, since we're on Women's History Month and Women of the Bible? Do you feel it's more difficult as a whole for others to believe in you in certain circumstances, like things you say or do? Don't get me wrong, I love a man being a man and not one falling into the belief that they need to be less of a man, that today's world's eyes want to make men, and regarding the society just doing this, trying to make men less than women, even. It's just really disheartening. We have our strengths and our weaknesses, and we complete and complement one another, in my opinion. However, as a woman of faith, I feel it is hard for us to be believed at times, and especially in regards to relation of the Bible and biblical days and times and so forth, and our understanding of other things differently. I feel we have the tendency to believe in the unbelievable more easily than men do. Not just myself, but other women that I know of. I'm sure I'm not alone in this. Men are more analytical thinkers. Again, that's okay. And it takes all of us to make things come together. He created us all for a reason. A special thing about Jesus that's touched my soul, however, excuse me, in this situation, in regards as women of faith, is he saw this characteristic in us and in women. He truly sees us and he believes it is a good thing. I mean, you know how strong of faith believers your mothers, grandmothers, aunts are, and they're believing more vocal, being more vocable about their beliefs than men. Not that there aren't men that are vocal. There's wonderful men that are doing ministry in the streets and otherwise in the churches and the pulpits. But in everyday life, there's a lot of women that are just really out there and instilling it in the families, as we spoke about a lot now. As well, we are more emotional than men in relationships of all types, not just male and female relationships. And that's okay. They're more analytical, more emotional, and it's okay. And we can blend those things too. It's all in our God-given nature to feel deeper and have deeper connections to people, things, and situations. See things and incidents many men may not feel or see. One is not necessarily better or worse than the other, but that is why men and women need one another as we do. In whatever situation, as brothers and sisters in Christ, in the church, in our community, in our family, or relationship, marriage, and so forth. I remember how the women that went to the grave first went back, to share the message of seeing that Jesus was resurrected and sharing, hey, he's risen, he's risen. There were thoughts and disbelief with this news coming from the women regarding Jesus being resurrected. All four gospels write of this: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. One is really good in Mark chapter 16, verses 9 to 11, if you'd like to go look at that. Not saying either that women have more faith in God than men do, but our faith most often leads us to believe in the unbelievable, as I've said above, more so than the faith men hold sometimes. Nothing's untrue, but I think a lot of you agree with me. The account of Rhoda can be found in the book of Acts, chapters 12, verses 1 through 19. I'm going to specifically read verses 11 to 19. Acts chapter 12, 11 to 19. Peter came to himself and said, "Now I know without a doubt that the Lord has sent his angel and rescued me from Herod's clutches and from everything the Jewish people were hoping would happen." When this had dawned on him, he went to the house of Mary and the mother of John, the mother of John, also called Mark, where many people had gathered and were praying. Peter knocked at the outer entrance, and a servant Rhoda came to answer the door. When she recognized Peter's voice, she was so overjoyed she ran back without opening it and exclaimed, "Peter's at the door." "You're out of your mind," they told her. When she kept insisting that it was so, they said, "It must be his angel." But Peter kept on knocking, and when they opened the door and saw him, they were astonished. Peter motioned with his hand for them to be quiet and described how the Lord had brought him out of prison. "Go tell James and the other brothers and sisters about this," he said, and then he left for another place. Thanks be to God. He had to go in hiding because he knew the guards were going to try and find him, or look for him rather. So Rhoda was a servant girl, not just any woman, that was, the family or whatever, mother or sister, whatever. She was a servant girl. So this made it all the more easily for the men not to believe in her, unfortunately. Maybe you have felt uncomfortable in certain situations where you were maybe the minority of race, male or female, education, financial status, or other situations, examples. Have you ever spoken up about your beliefs about something in a situation like that, where you felt uncomfortable as a minority, or or unfortunately finding out that they did not accept your beliefs because you were not that equal? They're equal. Or sadly, have you ever made someone feel like this yourself? I'm sure none of us are immune to that, unfortunately. Like doubting Thomas, that was not someone of a different stature to his brothers and sisters at that time, but he definitely did not believe the other men and women, because he specifically said that he had to see the scars on Jesus before believing he rose again. You can read about this in the book of John, chapter 20, verses 24 to 29. If you do not understand something someone else has said or is doing, be prayerful in your response and mindful of how said response would affect them. It could adversely affect their belief system in the future, stunt their growth, if you will. The faith of Rhoda is something I am to be better at having. I aim to be better at having. I want and long to be better at having. What about you? Not naively, but faith and discernment from God. Thanks again. It's always wonderful to chat with y'all, and I missed y'all yesterday, and thanks for bearing with me. Love y'all. God bless. Bye-bye.